Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Pabs, a racing VTuber and an artist. Today we'll be working a little bit more on a comic page that I actually started this one off screen, I think. It's actually been a while since I've done an art stream. I've been kind of on a Signal's lockdown. Look at that, even OBS has forgotten to load CSP. It's a stranger to me now. I don't know you anymore. It's been an eventful couple of days over here. Has it though? I feel like it has been, but also not that much happened. I guess the best way to describe it is that it's been pleasantly busy. You might be wondering why I'm doing all this preamble. That's because I need to load the script and I wanted to fill the dead air while I did so. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Found it. Right on. So we're going to... Hang on. Yeah, this page is actually not too complicated to do. Or at least I hope it won't be. In my deepest hopes and desires, every time I make a page, I really hope that it's not as complicated as I think it can be. Sometimes it is, but most of the time it isn't. And I get lucky. I also got really lucky in that making the design for the ship, I made it a shape that I could actually memorize fairly easy. Obviously, for the more detailed panels or for ones with stranger angles, I'll use the reference that I made for myself. But if it's just something like this, that's just the ship floating out in space, that's easy enough to do. Okay, we can maybe change this around so it's like so. Let's increase the size of the eraser for a short minute. Yeah. Actually, what's been really beating me up, not beating me up, I try to do, I'm trying to swear a little less. I'm trying to become a little bit more of a polite young man. I am a polite young man. I just tend to swear a lot during the streams. So I've been making an effort to try to avoid doing that. But the issue is that when I try to avoid swearing, usually what I'll do is that I'll replace a word that I was going to use. I'll do an Indiana Jones swap at the last second for the naughty word, and I'll try to use a non-offensive one. The issue of that being that sometimes when you switch a word like that at the last second, it doesn't carry the same meaning as the original phrase. So, for example, I was about to say beating my ass with regards to something that I've been doing recently. And that suddenly turned into beating me down, which is an entirely different thing. So beating my ass naturally does carry the connotation that I'm not doing too well with it. I'm struggling with it a little bit. But beating me down makes it sound as though it's an event that is depressing me, which it isn't. It is not. It is not. I am genuinely enjoying my time doing it. Hence the issue. I need to find it's obviously going to be a process, right? Trying to avoid swearing isn't going to happen overnight, or being able to avoid swearing isn't going to happen overnight. But I'm confident that if I keep at it, keep just trying to keep a calm head and avoid saying the cuss words, I will at some point manage to do so in a way that feels natural to myself and to the audience. It's a little bit of a moot point. I don't think anybody who watches my streams is particularly put off by cussing. In fact, I think that they might be put off more if I don't cuss ever. Yeah, that's crazy, right? Like when you're a kid, you hear somebody say the F word, right? And it's like you hear something crack. You're like, you just swore. And now when you're an adult, somebody just drops, you know, somebody drops a real stinker of a line, and you're like, yeah, all right, rock on. Or even like if somebody's too clean mouth, I don't know. I think overly swear. I feel like it depends a lot on like the culture that you're used to, right? Because I imagine that for me, somebody who is very familiar with the internet is almost off put by the lack of swearing in some instances. But then somebody who maybe touches grass more often than I do would be shocked at how often curse words get dropped around. It is a thing of circumstance, I reckon. I was chatting with Raph, the author of the comic, about the design for the ship, and I said that it reminded me a little bit of a hummingbird. But when I can see the underside of it like this, it almost reminds me a little bit more of a penguin. Would a penguin would be a really ironic design for a spaceship, you know? In real life, those little guys can't even get off the ground, can't get airborne. Penguins have zero ups, that as far as I'm aware. But suddenly you've used it as a basis for an object that can hurtle itself into space. I think that was the point of that one Flash game that I remember seeing a while when I was very, very young. Like Learn to Fly, I think it was called. That was an interesting game. I like that one. I used to love. I don't, I say this like it's a special thing. I'm sure there's not a single person who grew up in the 2000s doesn't have a fond memory of at least one Flash game here or there. You know, maybe not everybody's cup of tea. I loved Flash games to the extent that I would just like deep delve for hours just seeing what new ones I could find, or if I could find a new way to play one that I enjoyed normally. But I do think that if you grew up around the 2000s and you were had access to like coolmathgames.com, you definitely had, or you had access to a computer. You definitely had at least one or two times where either a friend or just by coincidence you thought to look up games on the internet, and you were like, wow, there's so much stuff in here, and some of it is even good. That's a bit mean. That's a bit mean. There were a lot of misses when it comes to Flash games, though. Not even like bad games, just ones that didn't make sense. I remember playing this one called I think it was like Chaos Climate or something like that, or Island Chaos or something like that, where you play as these like blue and red creatures. Hang on, Climate Chaos Flash game. Yeah, it was called Blue Rabbit's Climate Chaos. That takes me back, and I remember just being utterly confused by the quote unquote puzzles of it, but very impressed by the fact that it was like a 3D game in a predominantly 2D Flash game era. Well, 3D, right? I don't was actual 3D? I don't remember. It might have been. It very well could have been actual 3D. All right. Yeah, this place is supposed to have twin suns or something, I think. So I'll just have them in the far off distance. being that the sun is one of the biggest objects in the sky, it's a little bit messed up to think of the fact that most of the time it's relatively speaking very small. Like it's the brightest object anywhere in, you go within, I don't know, a light year or something. Probably not. I mean, how close is Alpha Proxima or Proxima Centauri? I keep getting Proxima Centauri and Alpha Centauri mixed up because I remember my brother played a Civilization game where one of the, it was one of the more recent Civilization games. I say recent. The thing is, my family, my brother and my dad love the Sid Meier Civilization series. They can't get enough of it. My dad's even started playing it again recently. Did not when I was very young, the fact that my dad was also a gamer shook me to my very core. Oh man. I'm like, you also play computer games? I was surprised as anyone. But yeah, my brother and my dad love the Civilization series. And my brother played one where you could build a spaceship to go to Alpha Centauri, I think, as one of the win conditions. And I thought that was because that would be a win condition because you could go to the nearest star in the solar system. But I think Alpha Centauri isn't actually that close. So, okay, Proxima Centauri. 4.2465 light years away from the sun. Alpha Centauri is. Oh, hang on. Alpha Centauri, constellation Centaurus, 3 stars, Frigil Centaurus, Ptolemy, and Proxima. Oh! All right, I learned something new today. So Alpha Centauri is actually a triple star system made up of 3 stars: Rigil Centaurus, Ptolemy, and Proxima Centauri. So Proxima Centauri is part of Alpha Centauri. I had no idea. I legit thought those guys were completely unrelated. No, they're cousins. I guess cousins wouldn't make sense. It is just one star system. I don't know. I feel like this is a very jacuzzi hot tub kind of problem. You have the fact that all hot tubs are all jacuzzis are hot tubs, but not all hot tubs are jacuzzis. But then you don't know if you see a random one whether you should refer to it, perhaps risking it maybe, on as a jacuzzi, or if you should just play it safe and go for hot tub. Oh yeah, speaking of things that are expensive to maintain. All right, so get this. I found out that apparently Meta, the company formerly known as Facebook, apparently they paid around 7 years of rent at once in order to cancel a lease that they had in the UK. It makes you wonder like what they bought the place for in the first place, because when you, generally speaking, office spaces are very expensive. I reckon at least. I imagine they must be expensive to maintain. So leasing one on a whim and then having that plan fall through. Maybe the plan for it was made before COVID, and that's why they never got a chance to follow through on it. That might be it actually. That they went through COVID. They were like, okay, no, listen, this will die down a little bit. We just need to hold on, and it'll be all cool. And then it wasn't. And then now people are getting much more used to a work from home system. The teleworking thing. Although I do know that a lot of IT or tech companies are starting to enforce like mandatory minimum presence a number of days a week. Let's see. Okay, so panel 3, panel 4, panel 2. Okay. This isn't too hard. I just need to do a little bit of messing around with it. All right. But yeah, I wonder if the Twitter office had a similar issue. I know that Twitter is having issues filling out its lease agreements. Sucks to be them. I do know that there have been cases of companies. I remember this one story I saw one time in a YouTube video where that was a story behind this one British sniper rifle that happened. That effectively, the people who designed it were a team of like 3 college engineer students who were like, all right, listen, there's this competition. It's like World War II or something. There's this competition to build a good sniper rifle. Listen, we have 0 job prospects. This is the best we're gonna get, possibly ever. So his buddies were like, all right, sure, fuck it, let's do it. So they submitted their design for a sniper rifle, and then to their surprise, they actually won. So then the army was like, all right, we would like 1,000 or so of these bad boys. And they were like, how many? So obviously they got to work making them. But the problem is like they were still just like 3 broke college students who had no idea what the hell they were doing. And much to their chagrin, the military actually sent an inspector over. They were like, hey, we're going to send over a couple of guys to inspect the workplace, how everything is going, just make sure that everything's all right. And they were like, oh, okay. So when the jig is about to be up, there are generally 2 things you can do. One is that you can bow out with dignity, or alternatively, and potentially, you can also decide to double down. So what these fellows did is that they decided to rent out a factory for like a day, put a bunch of the rifles that they were building themselves on the factory floor, kind of in various states of disrepair or, in work in progress. And then when the inspectors came, they were like, "Oh yeah, welcome to the factory floor. As you can see, everybody's out for lunch, but we've been very busy making the rifles for you." Oh lordy. And it worked, actually. It did end up working. Damn. Listen, as much as it sounds self-depreciating, the phrase "bigger idiots than me have done it" can save your life sometimes. All right, you need to be confident that you are the best to ever do it. If you can't convince yourself that you're the best to ever do it, you need to at least convince yourself that you're not the worst. Hang on. There we go. Then slice these bits off, and this bit off, and this bit off. There we go. It feels weird. I don't know. There's something strange about these gutters here. There's something disquieting about them. What if I kind of just close them in a little bit? Yeah, I think that'll work. God, I wonder how many different versions of that story that I just told there are. Like, obviously, I don't mean versions as in accounts of it, right? Because there's very few accounts available of that story. At least that was my impression. But how many situations have there been where some dude had to bluff his way? So a group of people had to bluff their way into to the military themselves. I can't imagine it's that many, but I don't know. I don't feel like it'll be too difficult either. I feel like as long as you had like a good handle on the situation, you might be able to pull it off. Okay. Let's see here. I should open up the previous page to remember what the cockpit looked like. Right, okay. Okay, then we have the ka-chunk here. All right, there we go. Hawk slides down her seat. Okay. There we go. Okay, I made the head way too big. Okay. So in this panel, Hawk is gonna it's gonna be almost directly after this penultimate panel here. Hawk is just gonna be very tense, still kind of in flight mode, pun intended. And then maybe in this second panel, she's taking off her helmet, just kind of slumping down and relaxing. Okay. Whenever I have the sketch lines a little too rough, I like to clean them up just a little bit. I just feel like it's better practice because, you know, given my current record, I get the feeling that I won't be coming back to this page for at least a couple of months to do the line art and the color. Or maybe the flats, I don't know. I don't know if it'd be easier to do the line art and the flats at the same time and then just take care of the shading as like a final step. So far, it's just been sketching, which is just a lot of brain work, right? It's just making sure, figuring out, okay, is the composition good? Is that okay? The rest of it is more intensive, but less. How do I put this? It's the same amount of it. It's not even the same amount of work. I would say that this is less work than actually making the page, but this is the more kind of creativity intensive part of it. For the most part. Sometimes I do just knock out the page on the first try, and that's going to be, we're all very happy when that happens. I am, at least. Okay, so then we're going to have the hips around here, and then the leg over here. All right, what was the panel here looking like? Okay, I see. Actually, maybe I can just reach over here and recycle this background. Or at least a chair. Recycle a chair, at least. Let's use the rough eraser to make a quicker job of it. Wait, I have an idea for something that would be kind of funny. All right, so we're gonna have the. All right, hang on. Okay, would it be awkward if these seats showed up? I don't think we would have seen them so far. Maybe they would have a little bit of a presence right around here. No, that would cover up too much. We could just have a random kind of bump here. That's supposed to be the seats. No, that doesn't feel right either. We could just have them built into the walls, actually. That might be a better idea. You know, just have them be like a pull-out couch. Could I kind of... Hang on. What if I just shifted this to the right? No, that wouldn't work. Okay, there we go. Okay, there's no vertical line here. We just kind of do this normally. Did I want this to be a push door? I think I did. Okay, then the idea I had for like a funny bit was to just have Horatio kind of just like wall flattened back here from the G-force of just suddenly jumping into the atmosphere very quickly. Also, I probably shouldn't make it. If that's the case, I probably shouldn't make this a push door, both for Horatio's safety, and also just because it doesn't make sense for this to be a push/pull door, because not because of any particular. Like, I feel like if you're in a ship, having I don't know, what kind of doors do they have on the space station? Because I feel like having a push-pull door presents a risk. But then conversely, having a sliding door also has its own risk, because what happens if you start like tilting to the side and the internal gravity starts getting out of whack? What doors are on the space station? Hang on, I'm gonna look this up. Space station doors. If this gives me the doom door, I'm gonna lose my mind a little. Oh no, okay, so it is kind of... Alright. Huh. It's kind of like a hatch, but not quite. It's like a hatch / vault door kind of dealio. This thing. Okay. So maybe, all right. What about like? Hang on, tank hatch. Tank hatch. Okay. I don't know. Having it be like some kind of hobbit door feels a little bit strange, but that also makes the most amount of sense from a technical standpoint. Or does it? I might be talking crazy. It could just be like, you know how some peepholes have a design where they're on a little swivel and you can just swivel them around? That might also be interesting. but then there's not enough space. Not to mention, if you make it circular like this, it'll be hard for bigger people like Horatio to go through. So perhaps some kind of compromise. So maybe... Almost like a submarine door. That might be the best one. What do those doors on submarines look like? Hey, so that's how. Check this one out. This just seems to be submarine style. Here we go. This is kind of like what I was thinking about. This is a .obj file. Oh, here's another good one. All right, this can work. This can work. We'll do something like this. Pretend you didn't see that. That's for later. That's a surprise tool that'll help us in 2 to 3 days. When's Saturday? 2 days? Okay, in 2 days. Yeah, I was talking earlier about a project that's been keeping me busy, but also has been very satisfying to work on. The making thumbnails for the Signalis streams has been a lot of fun. I'm having so much fun making thumbnails. I'm having more fun making thumbnails. I shouldn't say this. I'm having more fun making thumbnails sometimes than I do actually playing the games in the thumbnails. But yes, I'm very enthusiastic about my thumbnails. I don't know. It's also good for branding. There's a lot of different reasons to do it, but my main reason for doing it is that I find it fun. Okay, put Horatio's face here. God, imagine if you get your having that thing when like when an actor puts their face like right up on a glass pane, and it looks a little bit like this. You can see like the imprint of their cheek on there. That must hurt so much more when you have horns. There we go. This is such a funny tableau, actually. I like this. This is a good idea. I should make his head just a tiny bit smaller, though. And lift his body up a little bit, too. Okay, do it like this. Yeah, so the tail's straight out there. All right. The question is, hang on, maybe the other arm, one of the arms like this. I don't know. Is it funnier to have the other arm just like splayed out like this, or? Yeah, no. Actually, I think like this is better. Maybe, yeah, with the jet, still holding on to the jetpack a little bit here. There we go. There we go, and then like this. We'll have the cane also smushed up against the door frame. And also Hawk's gun back here to show kind of where it went. Okay. We can just kind of copy and paste the seat again. Use the rough eraser once again. Actually, why shouldn't we just copy and paste the second panel? Oh, right, no layers. Well, I'll figure it out or I won't. What might help, actually? Hang on, select, color gamut. This kind of reddish, please. And then we can use the soft eraser to just kind of get the last bits of that out. Then we can have just Hawk kind of collapsing a little bit. Once I switch the colors, once I have the colors switched, then we can go. Actually, maybe we can still have a couple of fingers on the lever. Yeah, okay. This will work. Let's clean this up a little first, though. Okay, there we go. This one here, this one here, this one here, and then... Okay, that should be fine. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Okie dokie. Oh yeah. Earlier today, I actually learned that there was a Wikipedia article for movies set within an office workplace, which included a documentary about the Flint General Motors auto plant, and it also included some other films. There was this one called like the Hudsucker Proxy or something like that. That was actually supposed to be like a send up to the kind of funny work office comedies. Well, not so much office comedies, but it was supposed to capture a certain vibe from movies from like the 1940s or so. For example, very similar to kind of a safety last. No, that's not safety last. Isn't the last? Isn't the one? The one where the dude is hanging from the clock. The guy hanging from clock movie. Which one was that? Oh no, it is safety last. How about that? I remembered. God damn, that's a rarity. If I remember the name of a movie or a game first try that I haven't thought about in like a little while, that is like a heroic moment for me. Every time I do that, one of my brain cells gets its wings. I like to think that I'm not a. I think like to think that I'm a generally intelligent person, but I do be having some some rather drastic memory issues from time to time. I know everything except the things I don't, and I remember everything except the things I forget. That's just how it is. Oh yeah, actually, that's something that I wanted to talk about. I've actually had to do a little. I wanted to do a little bit of research into Southeast Asian martial arts because I was like I remember during the Signal stream I was talking about Pencak Silat, which I think I said was Malaysian for some reason. No, it's actually Indonesian. Pencak Silat is 100% Indonesian, which I recently learned. The Malaysian martial art. I had it written down actually. Hang on. Malaysian martial art. Which one was the Malaysian one? Because there was actually quite a few. I did some research into martial arts from Southeast Asia. All right, so here we go. All right, Malaysia has the Muay. All right, so this is actually kind of interesting. All right, so the kind of most when you think about like Thailandese martial arts, there is an armed system, but the most famous Thailandese martial art is Muay Thai, which is very famous for the fact that it allows for elbow and knee strikes in addition to normal kicks and fists. So what I learned is that apparently Cambodia's martial art, Pradal Sere, Laos martial art, Muay Lao, and the Malaysian martial art, the Muay, all of them have kind of similar roots to Muay Thai. All of them have a lot very striking similarities. You know, the emphasis on elbow and knee strikes, for example. Those are present in all three of those. In fact, you know, Muay Lao and Muay Thai, they even share the first kind of word there, which means boxing. Muay just means boxing. And I thought that was super interesting. Yeah. I also thought that Lead Way was also based on Muay Thai, but apparently that's from Myanmar, not from Thailand, which is really interesting to me. I always correlated the two of them because Lead Way is just Muay Thai, but also with the inclusion of headbutts, which is a very hardcore prospect given just the absurd kind of conditioning that is supposed to happen in Muay Thai. From what I understand, you know, the most kind of classic Muay Thai training image that most people have is of the. Hold on. Something about this isn't right. Okay, so it's like that. Okay, I see. But yeah, the most classic image of like Muay Thai training is kicking banana trees in order to condition your limbs. Again, very hardcore. There we go. Yeah, Muay Thai in general is just kind of savage because of how, and I say this in a positive tone. I love the fact that it's a martial art that has a lot of like hardcore elements because we need those. You know, I mentioned during the stream that I don't think there's such a thing as like a quote unquote useless martial art, right? You know, if it gets you moving, if it has some kind of history behind it, if it's genuinely trying to make you exercise and kind of get you in touch with your body to give you the benefit of that mindfulness and that proprioception, then that's a good thing. That being said, that there are definitely martial arts that are much more oriented towards combat, and Muay Thai is one of those. Yeah, there's a reason that Muay Thai is a popular basis for a lot of MMA striking. You know, the flying knee, some of those chops that you see, those are from Muay Thai. I also kind of wanted to do research into like martial arts movement techniques because the question of which martial art has the most impressive movement is kind of sticking with me a little bit. Yeah, as is helpfully pointed out, capoeira is a very strong contender, as is boxing. But I kind of want to see if there's any other ones with like crazy movement styles. I know there is this one branch of martial arts called XMA, Extreme Martial Arts, which, contrary to its name, is actually very mild, very tame. From what I understand, it's a lot based on like choreography and flipping around, doing cool stuff, which definitely cool. Not very combat oriented, I don't think. I'm pretty sure. Hang on, does it have a Wikipedia page? Oh yeah, here we go. Extreme martial arts, a brand named owned by Shaturan Tabut. Full name Michael Chaturan Tabut. Thai American actor, martial artist, and stuntman. Yeah, here we go. Extreme Martial Arts, or XMA, is a brand name owned by Chatu. All right, I'm gonna figure out how to pronounce this guy's name. Chaturan Tabut. Chaturan Tabut's XMA is a combination of elements from martial arts, acrobatics, and gymnastics, with an emphasis on showmanship. The concept of adding gymnastics-like tumbling moves to elements of traditional martial arts is otherwise known as tricking. XMA makes these exhibition moves the focus of the sport. Open hand and weapons choreography are often accompanied by dramatic dance or programmatic music. The goal is to command the attention of the audience. Currently, there are schools of martial arts or similar XMA styles based in the United States, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom, the world headquarters being in North Hollywood, California. Many of the moves are high flying aerial acrobatic maneuvers. These stunning movements attain the goal of capturing the crowd, improving physical agility, balance, strength, coordination, and endurance, as well as performing an artistic display of talent. Huh. But yeah, like I said, that is, I don't know. Could you qualify that as a martial art technically? Because it doesn't. It has bases in traditional martial arts, but it doesn't have combat. Again, once you get into this whole of like what is and what isn't, right? Martial arts. I'm guessing, if you want to take a very traditionalist point of view, I guess you could restrict it only to things that were original, movement styles and traditions that were made with the explicit purpose of hurting people. In which case, XMA might not really qualify because it's not really made to hurt people. It's made to capture attention, as the article said. A little bit of a gray area there. Hard to say. Okay, there we go. Okay, then just have her kind of helmet up, kind of just sighing in relief. There we go. God, the image of a ratio just being blasted on the wall back here is still making me laugh. Oh, that's gonna be a good bit. I hope Raph likes it. Okay, then Hawk. Maybe make Hawk's head a little bit smaller. and make this helmet bit a little bit higher. There we go. Perfect. No, that neck is still a little too long. We need to bring it down again. There we go. Okay, have the control panel. Did it have a screen? I feel like it had a screen somewhere. Yeah, right in the middle. There we go. Oh yeah. Speaking of things that are rather impractical. All right, so get this. Apparently, there's this company called Blue Shock Racing that does go-karts. Their main product is go-karts. And very recently, they've unveiled a go-kart that they've developed that can go over 100 miles per hour. Holy shit. Like 100 miles per hour in a tiny little golf cart. Are you kidding me? Not even a golf cart, go-kart. We're playing on Rainbow Road for real, bro. We're not playing around anymore. This ain't Mario Kart. Chicken race me in the 100 mile per hour V8 engine go kart. Okay, I don't know if it's actually got a V8 engine in it. If it does, I would almost not be surprised. If it has a V8 engine, I would not be surprised. Okay, there we go. And then like that. And then back here. Horatio's just gonna kind of flop over. Poor old man. Hawksman threw the ringer already. Now it's Horatio's turn to be on the end of the comedy slapstick. Okay, there we go. There we go. And then he just kind of flops over. Okay, and then kind of like this. God, I am not getting used to Digitrade legs anytime soon. Then over here, we'll just erase a little bit of the tail, but make sure that it's on top of the leg. But yeah, I think having the effect of the ship kind of being shown by just how much stuff is sticking to the wall back here, except for Hawk, who is somehow hanging on for dear life, is a good kind of visual thing. I don't know if I want to have a tiled wooden floor, but I'm going to add these lines just so we can have a reference for like how it. Trying to find the word here. How how the floor stretches out a little. All right, then what's the last panel or penultimate panel? Okay, that's a good use for this little screen right here. All right, we're gonna copy and paste this panel again because it's actually hardly gonna be different in this last one. Okay, here's what we'll do. Here and not here. Then just lower these guys a little bit. Just erase this bit here. Perfect. All right, there we go. Did not mean to erase that much. Okay. Then after that, all right, we're gonna need to keep the lever there, but we can have Hawk schmoove a little bit. I need to stop saying. I need to get schmovement out of my vocabulary. I think I'm starting to have a net negative effect on there. One day I'm gonna forget the word for evasion, and then it'll really be over. I'll be like, all right, so hopefully we can zigzag. It'll be like the post-apocalypse. In 20 to 30 years, when we are in like a Mad Max dystopia, I'll have like a beard or something and an eye patch. We'll be riding around it. Me and the besties on Discord are gonna be riding around in like a war rig, and I'll be like, all right, if we move around this tank right here, we should be able to avoid the worst of the raiders. And they're like, what the fuck do you mean schmoove? What is that? Actually, no. If I do manage to make a post-apocalyptic warband with my Discord besties, they'll probably remember what movement is. They might also forget what the word evasion is. In which case, I shall be spared much embarrassment. Oh, and I've got a really good idea too. All right. So we're gonna have Hawk remove her helmet over here, kind of like in one swift motion. All right, there we go. Okay, and then there we go. I noticed that for some reason my playlist seems to favor a few songs more than others. I feel like we've heard that last song at least a few times in the past couple of streams. To be perfectly fair, it's a very good song. In all fairness, David Byrne, it's a very good song. All right, there we go. Okay, there we go. There we go. There we go. And then back here, Horatius just gonna also snap to attention. I have so much fun drawing silly expressions. I should do this more often. That's the one disadvantage that I have, having given myself this rather, I'm gonna say Spartan facial structure for my rice bag form, is that I can't have. I need to get creative when I want to have like very complex emotions. Yeah, I need to keep working on comics and stuff like this just so I can keep flexing my expression abilities. Okay, there we go. I like how this can read that Erasure is either pissed at Hawk for sending him flying like that, or that he's also shocked at Amelian's presence. Actually, rather than having like his lip trembling like that, I think having him just like be open mouth gaping as well is also good. Also, oh god, it must really suck to land on a jetpack like that. Like those things are not soft on the best of days. All right, and here I'm gonna have this thing scramble. There we go. I think that should be good, honestly. I forgot which layer this one is on, though. Okay, no, we're good. Okay, there we go. Huh. When did this happen? There we go. Hmm. There we go. Maybe I should add some more cracks to Horatio's glasses as well. Actually, maybe some more wrinkles to Hawk's face might be good. Go over here. Erase these parts here. There we go. I don't know what to do with this hand. Maybe a fist? A fist might be good. And she's like, oh, right, Emelian. There we go. I don't know. Also, I also don't know if it's funny to just have Horatio's mouth be like an empty trapezoid there, or just have the little tongue there. Like, I feel like the tiny tongue adds something. Actually, maybe flaring her nostrils a little bit too. All right, I think we've achieved maximum shock in this one panel. All right. Yeah, I think that's the issue all sketched out. Good work, everyone. All right, I think I'm gonna keep it short and more. There will be more actually. We're not quite done with the high skillsies. We're not quite done with the comic itself just yet. We do need to do the lines, the flats, the shading. Oh lordy, the shading. Actually, you know what? We are a little bit short in time still. We're not quite through our normal runtime. I might as well do start a little bit of work on page 2. Lord knows I could use an additional bit of, shall we say, preparation. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. This background was for real gonna kick my ass. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. This background is gonna give me the work. Well, so it goes. Let's do it like this. Edit. Frame. This would be a good time to get back into the rhythm of... Yeah, here we go. Frame border folder. Oh, actually, I already have one of those, huh? That's gonna make this a lot easier, actually. Okay, stuff this all in here. Duplicate this. Merge selected layers. There we go. What did I have in here? Oh, the helmet. Okay. Now, what was I doing? Right, the frame. Okay, then these three are going to be split up like so. Like so. Okay, now we just need to order these in a way that makes sense. That's something that I struggled a lot with initially with the frames, is that when you cut them, you need to get them back into order. Having this like hole in the ground is an interesting concept, but I kind of want to emphasize this like metal thing out here. So I think what we might be able to do, I don't know, is there like a... Once upon a time, I remember seeing a description of somebody who was looking for something kind of fanning out in a circle. All right. First, though, let's try to focus on the most important parts of the panel itself. So, Hawk. See, this is the benefit of thoroughly working on the, what do you call the rough draft, because then you have an option to, when it comes time to do the line art, you have the benefit of not having to do much brain work. It's in Spanish we would say cociendo y cantando. Although there won't be much singing. Now there's an idea. Karaoke while I draw. I shall serenade you while I use the fill tool. Somebody could probably pull that off. I'm not even gonna play the like somebody probably couldn't pull that off or hasn't tried to do that at some point already. I can easily imagine 3 or 4 people that have tried to do that. That that's something interesting. When you do like domestic work, right? You like doing the dishes or doing the laundry. It's not too uncommon to see somebody just singing along while they work. Why is that not more normalized among other tasks? I guess it would be a little bit bothersome in some contexts, huh? I could see that being kind of a bother if you're trying to like study or something. If somebody's just like singing while they're studying near you, that might be a little bit difficult to focus. Yeah, I guess it's all about consideration at the end of the day. When you're doing domestic tasks like that, you're usually expecting to be on your own. There's no reason to not, treat yourself to a little bit of impromptu karaoke. The thing that I found out about myself is that I like spontaneity, but only if it's self initiated. If somebody is like, yo, let's do something, I have a very difficult time getting along. But if my brain just suddenly says, yo, man, let's do something, I am immediately like, oh, hell yeah, what are we doing? I guess it's a thing of boundaries, right? I know that I respect my own time, and I know that I will only do stuff that I enjoy personally. So it's easier to kind of convince myself, all right, this is going to be an awesome experience. We should do it. I guess that's the case for a lot of people, right? It's not too unusual to want to do something, but only if you're the one who has the idea to do it. I don't know. From time to time, it feels like you don't want to be, especially if it's something important or something that you're kind of on the fence about. You want to make sure that you're the one making the decision rather than somebody else making it for you. Which is why I think sometimes we get like that, right? We want to know that the decision we made was made by us and us alone. We weren't suckered into it. We weren't kind of talked into it. We decided to do it on our own. And that's why it's important to have that kind of autonomy. Granted, 9 times out of 10, this just results in me trying overcomplicating things. But it's not a bad thing to overcomplicate it if, it gives you more peace at the end of the day, right? Like, yes, in the moment, you're overthinking it. You're kind of struggling a little bit. You're having you're having a little bit of a conniption about it. But I think if having that process, ultimately what is the most important is to have that kind of like peace, that inner peace at the end of the day, right? For certain, taking the decision that maintains your peace the most. I think that's what's important above all if you're making a decision. Granted, this can easily kind of backslide into just taking the easy decision every time, which is not ideal in most cases. You don't always want to take the easy decision. Sometimes you have to sucker up to it, suck it up, not suck up to it. You don't need to suck up to any decision. At least I hope not. That would imply that the decision is sentient, and I don't know. That's kind of a personal nightmare. Imagine not only the pressure of decision making, but also the fact that the decision could judge you for making it. That's Yeah. No, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a fan of that idea. There we go. I need to make this thruster bigger. Okay, have this just kind of sparking outward. Okay, having this here. What else did I learn about recently? Oh yeah, I've been doing research into shady companies as a personal hobby. I've learned about these things called SPACs. So these are SPACs. They are special purpose acquisition companies, I believe is the full acronym. The idea is that sometimes you want to acquire a company, right? Say you're some big bully with $5 billion to your name or so, and you find out about this one company, let's call them Event Horizons. To continue a bit that I have established in a previous episode. So you want to acquire Event Horizons, but to your horror, you can't actually float their shares on the market. They are a private company. They are not publicly listed. So what do? What you do is you make a very small, very flexible company where you pool a bunch of funds with a bunch of other guys so that you can eventually buy Event Horizons. And once you purchase it with the new company that you've made where you've pooled all your funds, since that company is now publicly listed, by acquiring it, you've essentially made the company you've acquired, the private one, public now as well. From what I can tell, it had a very popular boom phase not too long back. But very recently, they've kind of the investors have kind of soured on it because they usually don't have as much of a return as just normally acquiring it or normally making the private company public. Okay. I need to put Hawk's head a little lower. How are we for time? We're still good. We're still good on time. I've been doing sketches for so long that I forgot how nice doing line work feels. There are some people who hate transferring sketches to line art. I love that stuff. I feel so groovy when I do it. I don't know. I enjoy the feeling of finalizing something, just knowing that it will be the last version of it. I derive satisfaction from that. And obviously, it's not final. It has some flexibility, right? If I need to go back and fix something for the coloring to make sense or for the shading to make sense, that's definitely a possibility. But broadly speaking, once you do the line art, you're kind of done. You're kind of one and done. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Okay. But yeah, I don't know how quickly I'll be able to get out the line work pages is the thing. Because obviously I can do Hawk easily enough. But something like this background, that's a thing, right? It's comic pages are very difficult to estimate. Like I'm guessing maybe it's because I'm still green more or less at making them. I like to think that I've have some experience now in making comics, but I'm still very, relatively speaking, I haven't even been doing it for a full year. Wait, haven't I? Okay, in like a month be having done it for a full year. Okay, there we go. Then over here. Perfect. But yeah, special purpose acquisition companies. I read that apparently because of the fact that they're very shaky foundations. So this is an article that I read, right? Apparently in the auditing business, right, in the accounting business, there are like big players called the Big Four. These are Deloitte, PricewaterhouseCooper, EY, and one more, Grant Thornton, I believe. So those guys are like the big cheeses of the auditing slash accounting world. There used to be five. There used to be five, but Enron happened, and now there are four. In any case, right, the big four accountings. So the thing about companies that get that big is that they generally don't enjoy being in a losing proposition or putting too much risk upon themselves. They actually have the kind of luxury to pick and choose what clients they take, right? To some extent. You know, they have a luxury in two ways. One, they have their pick of clients, and two, they can just say, okay, this guy is too risky. We just won't audit him. Go pound sand, try somebody else. They can do that. So because the SPACs are actually kind of risky from a big picture perspective, right? They can just say, yeah, no, we're not auditing those. But once you do acquire the private company that you're hoping to get public, we will audit that. Call us up once you're public. It's kind of incredible. It's a little shameless too, but I understand it. You know, I understand it from like a risk mitigation perspective. Okay, there we go. Okay, let's switch this thing up around so that we can. What if I flip this around? Yeah, I think that works. Let's see. Okay, put that here. Ooh, this works pretty well, actually. Let's just get rid of this little smidge here. I wonder where the word smidgen came from. I hear it a lot, right? Like just a smidgen, right? You hear that fairly often. Where did that actually come from? What's the etymology of smidge? Hang on, a Wiktionary. Here we go. There we go. Okay, so smidge is an alternative form of smidgen, which comes from a variant of smidum or smedum, fine powder, influenced by Scots smidge, stained speck, small amount or trace. Huh. Okay, so it's from Scottish. That's interesting. Usage notes. Some cookbooks and manufacturers of kitchen measurement sets have attempted to define a smidgen for recipes. Anything between 1/25th and 1/48th of a teaspoon may be found, 1/32nd perhaps being the most commonly used. Other commonly used measures for small amounts include tad, dash, pinch, and drop. There seems to be some consensus of tad being the largest in this set, and smidgen being larger than a drop but smaller than a pinch. Why is that right? Why does that feel so correct? What the hell? But yeah, it seems to be from like old European language where smidgen came from. That's fascinating. Okay, which hand is this? The right hand or the left hand? This would be the left hand. Okay. Okay, that means thumb pointing toward forehead. Got it. All right. So this morning, right, I went out to my place of employment, as one does. When I was looking out the window, and I thought I saw some glare coming off of the window, but I moved around, and the glare was coming through the blinds as well. It took me a full minute to realize that the sun had been hidden by the clouds in just such a way that it looked like a white circle punched into the sky. It was surreal. It was so cool looking. I loved it. I was super excited. I gathered all my coworkers. I was like, guys, have you seen the sun today? I must have sounded like an idiot, but they were all very pleased with it as well. I had never seen it look that way before. I'd never seen the sun look like that before. Like it seriously looked like there was just a white hole in the sky. It didn't hurt to look at either. It was like behind clouds. It was surreal. After I realized what it was, I stopped looking at it for too long because, looking at the sun bad. But it was so absurd. It looked so strange. I for real thought it was a UFO. God, wouldn't that be something? Local bag of rice discovers first contact on Earth. Hmm. Okay, there we go. All right, that's panel 1's Hawk done. How are we for time? We still got some more time. Why not? There we go. There's something weird about this hand. I'm gonna try and fix that first. I think there's something weird about the way the thumb is placed. If I move it up a little, that should be... Yeah, there we go. Okay. Then down here. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, it goes like this, then goes like this. Perfect. Then the collar, then the scarf over the collar. Okay, then we do the horns. Horatio is kind of interesting to draw. Although whenever I do draw him, I do have to kind of scream in my mind, don't think about the Undertale goats, don't think about the Undertale goats, don't think about the Undertale goats. If I had made, if you like if you palette swapped Horatio to have like pure white fur rather than scales, he would look remarkably like an Undertale goat. Not quite, not exactly, but remarkably. It's unfortunate, and I hadn't considered that when I was first assigning him, but that's kind of just how it turned out. Now he's getting sort of that upset at it now. Okay, there we go. Okay, the chin goes like this. There we go. There we go. I'm gonna need to eventually answer how Horatio's glasses stay on his head, but for the time being, let's just say it's gravity magic. Not even science, it's just gravity magic. Bro's a wizard. God, imagine if you had like telekinesis, but you only used it so that you could wear Morpheus style glasses comfortably at all times. Not exactly a noble use of your abilities, but then again, if you only have very light telekinesis, I guess you could be doing worse things with it. There we go. We can make this snail bigger. Now I'm imagining a side story where Horatio gets his massive claws, Gyaro style bedazzled. You know, just for kicks. Honestly, Gyaro Academia is an untapped well of fashion potential. You know, everybody's like in Dark Academia this, Cottage Core that. What about like Academia Gyaru? Has anybody tried? I'm just asking. Has anybody tried? If they have, please give me names. Like right now. I would like to see it. Okay, then like this and like this. Perfect. Then like this. No, that doesn't make sense. Hold on, I might need to get a hand model in here. I tried using my own hand, but I can't. Unfortunately, I still haven't learned the secrets of whatchamacallit, what is that called? Not ESP. Uh, I always remember this one power that lets you see stuff outside of yourself. It's not quite astral projection. I wouldn't call it astral projection. It's not being oracular either. It sounds like oracle. Hang on, I know exactly where I have it. I have it in one of my art fight character profiles. I have this exact word somewhere there. Clairvoyance. That's the one. Clairvoyance is the word I was looking for. Clairvoyance is such a hard word to remember for me for some reason. I don't know what it is about it. I think it's just the fact that I don't use it very often, and it has very specific contexts. Wait, what am I doing? I could just put the cane sideways. Sometimes the most elegant solutions are the simplest. Truly. Now, if only I could remember what I was doing. Right, the cane. Okay, there we go. And then with the nail right around here. No, wait, that looks wrong. That looks really wrong. That looks like the nail is clinging to dear life onto the cane. That's not right. There we go. That looks much more natural. Okay, then over like this, and this, and this. Then this, we move it over here. We might need to move this part of the cane upward a little bit. There we go. Doesn't need to be that quite wide, that wide. There we go. All right, then following suit with the sketch itself, there we go. Now I can just tilt this like this and make it follow the curve of my hand, which will be much easier for myself. Okay, squeeze it in. Huh. All right, let's try it like this. No, that's not quite right. What about this? Oh, we're getting somewhere here. Hang on. I might need to pare down the thickness of some of these lines, but so far it's so good, I think. There we go. Okay. I think we can call it here for today. We've done some good work. All right. Well, thanks to everybody who came by the stream. Hope you have a great rest of your evening. And yeah, we'll see you all on Saturday for some more Signalis. Last episode. All right. Catch you later. Bye.